Hola, so da.
Geshe Lharam, the local computer de dotsam project chegore, da can do that.
La.
No.
Can do that.
Can do.
Yes, Robert.
Could you just adjust that slightly so I can see Geshe Lharam's face?
Okay.
So,
Yes.
yeah, just pull it down a bit.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Geshe Lharam, see that so he can see you.
Yes.
A little more,
Okay.
just a little more, because it's on mine. I'm just seeing the top of
Well,
the
let's see if we can prop the back up a bit. There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Perfect.
Okay.
Sure.
Actually, we can do a little more than that, can't we?
Oh,
That's good. That's good.
Dine Geshe Lharam, so Nyeba Sumba, Chingu ni.
Yes, Jingu ni da. Da Jingu ni ke na lo jingwa chamu yo ro, jingwa la chira ni da so lu sa teng le song. Na ni la zang lu song de ba le song. Jingwa la chira ni yo de sa ju ba. Jingwa la chira ni ni lu song de ba le song, de me xi xia man lo da.
La de Jingni.
Na ni di ge dui.
Tra ni, Tra rak ni le.
Chira ni de sa duo la.
Ren Big Simba, la de.
Ni lu song de ba le song. Da jingwa la chira ni li sin duo la. Jingwa de ge ba ni yo ro, ne ba nga bu ne bu du ji ne ba nga yi na ne. Jingwa de ge ba ni da. Di jingwa xiu jingwa la chira ni yo re se. Jingwa la chira ni li sin, mi den den bi san ba nam. Ni cha yue zhang, si cha mie ba ne ra ba. Mi bin ren dang ma shui, ni shi da si cha yue zhang. Ren dang shu le ni si cha yi nga mie ba ne jingwa chamu si duo ke. Da de su. Je zang gong jie bi gi ji zu den sa gong jie ba la, gi zu na ba de jingwa da, jingge ni ji ge ro. Xin ne gong ba la, gi zu na ba de jingwa ge ba ti na jingwa ge ji ge ba ji ge ro. Je zang gong jie bi gi ji zu den yin sa jingwa re song re. Da ga re是那ro. al dang bu ji ji这个嘛ro，jingwa la chara ni sin duo la. Mi den den bi san ba na se, mi den ga ri ne, mi den den bi san ba na. 对了，你才有种是下面把它把另外把个经过，真把个他这里，西把个没把它等我那没等我先嘛那样，这西部上没把小了，这另外个经过的是个的，就对了，另外把是个的是，知道另外的些看不起可差不多了，可工作那的，看到把这工作另外没有了哇，另外的这地的是，把是个的是，但没变成大马修啊，没把个。西巴给没把我先，没变成大些，你当马说啊，你是西下，你下呀，毕竟你不下雨，你人当个西下雨那样，人当是修炼，人当修炼呢，搞的是个西下硬没把晓了，但呢西部人当个修炼呢，修养那个什么呢，西下硬些了没把西下有就硬把那硬西部没把晓了，这个情况差不多，给这样情况有点啥了。 咱老牛都那敲个啥了，西巴牛都那敲了。这种的呢，地上工这边给做的，啥工这边现在工了，工就做给做那个快点什么的，那意思。
哦呀。
这边就落实了，这边的从那干的啥嘞？
来的。OK。
我特些。
哦，All right. This morning we're continuing with the description of these five faults that can arise in the course of engaging in the one-pointed meditation leading to shamatha. So we've covered the first of those, which was the sense of disinterest in the meditation, which is a type of laziness. The second was the the loss of mindfulness of the object of the meditation, and this is also called sort of forgetting the instructions about the object upon which we are setting our meditative focus. So those are covered in the last couple of sessions. Then in the last session we started on the third of these five, and this is called literally scattering and sinking. And the scattering is a type of sort of mental excitement where the mind gets too active and doesn't keep its sharp focus on the object, meditative object, because it's sort of wandering elsewhere. It's getting too busy. Then the sinking. Sinking is when the mind sort of gets dull, and this is a type of sort of it's the same function whereby we sort of doze off and go to sleep. But here, when we're talking about the faults in the practice of meditative concentration, at this point, what's being described is something much more subtle. So we're not actually falling asleep here. We still are awake, but the mind is tending in that direction. It's sort of sinking into a sort of a foggy state, but it still is holding its object. So a lot of what is being covered here are subtle distinctions, which really are something that we will notice and appreciate only when we are actively engaged in the meditative concentration and have pretty much overcome the first of the two faults, the disinterest or laziness and the forgetfulness or loss of mindfulness. We've overcome those. Now we're not losing our object of meditative concentration, but the focus isn't right. It's just like on some optical device where you need to focus it correctly or it's blurry. Well, here there's two ways. If the focus is too tight, then there's the scattering. If it's not tight enough, then there's the sinking or the dullness. Given that, then we look specifically here at this so-called dullness or sinking. And this has two types, the coarse one and the subtle one. So the coarse dullness is when you still have the object of your meditation. You haven't lost it. You're still visualizing it, but it's not very clear. It's blurry. So that's the coarse sinking or dullness. Then the subtle one, we'll look at the subtle one now. Subtle one, of course, we still have not lost the visualization. The features of the visualization are there, but they lack a sort of vibrant clarity. Now that vibrant clarity is what we're aiming for. so that the mind is fully engaged in the object of visualization, the object of meditation. And so we can still have it. It's not blurry. It's in focus, but it's not quite. It's not very vibrant. So these are things that we'll notice when we get to that point in the meditation. Otherwise, it's hard to understand exactly what's being talked about here. But there's a point you get to when you are visualizing the object. It's not blurry. You don't have the coarse dullness that blurs the object, but you're not. It's not very compelling to you. It's not very sort of alive and vibrant in the way that it needs to be for the meditation to proceed properly. That's what it is.
Never these, Nisa Yoba said, surely soon. I'll hear it changing. Don't put her tongue with me under the secretaries and I cigar. I met the hearing and giving a good cigar. I met her in a cottage, he won't open the sugar to say, let you at that. Is on Dico Tella Nita, Dico Sotne, said the Mipala, Dico said Nisa to sooner, Magina. You want Tamari just shaggy, you want Rabali Padre, you want Tamari just shaggy, you tell us you could. Is that never you also much that you want Tamari just you want Tam. You want that Hineguya Jugan just in Hiji recall. Just you get son. But I see saying other Debane made there say, sing this one as good. Nisha it up and I see saying other damn and season not goddamn. Pena, he bought the Mibala. Ne tiba cosa se teaching is a senti motor smaller day, then was a reason. Ultimately, the patients, super shy. That the man here, she went to Sibu Chagamaro, Chai in Balaya, Puji, she disagreed. Senti, singing all a cigarette, but in Sata. You know, that Nisha the Sishaton, Sishaton. She saying, I mean, sir. Nisha the Sisha, Nisha in I, Nisha, I miss a castina. Penang Labana, Timan Rabaton, Puban, Simbicolia, Lobo Simbadian, switch to Tambu of a symbol chivalry. Lobo Sina in Northern Ocean and Gairo, Tambu Ocean and Tugumara, the Higuta. Now you may Pena Laba, Timan, Penalabana, Timan, the Puban Zabana, Lobo Tambu Chiva Yoro, telling me this one. Chia by Jan Mosen. Pena, Tape Jagin, Rari Lama Shila, Junton Tepa Yajam, Rang Lama Tepa Juna. The about the shoot out, he like shoot out Jimina, Zanga, Lama, the shower, the shoot out Yarom. I think I said I'm a British mission. And the shoot out Jimmy. Now she go Gahila, Hapa, Deba, Manga shoot out with Jarasam. They were shoot out with Jarwas at Jana. They don't hammerly to the swan, they don't hammerly, they don't Yelama, the hammerly to the swan, Europe, Sisibu Shara, down the one we are checking. Or the Chiba race one. They didn't Chiba Yoros, I didn't Chiba Yoban race one. They don't hear me said. So not say Lama that Tiba Yukola Deba. Zanga Jillian, Sagi Chinasi, son, but they were shoot up in the cook in the other. They were Yukola, not Chaga, Chiba with the not. Now you may hear me said the Chagi figure in the Chiba Yoba race one. Yoba race one. Didn't Chiba Yabajan Osa. Did the Tanzukanga Nui Madonna Hachang, so he sick Chito Yoba. Tukangala, so Guhi, Sukupa, New Taji Jigamato, Jiggy Maki, Siki Saji, that to a cover your race one time. rang nuaji nuig matana rendu ata pe hian yun dig de me rang pe gun nuig matana ye ji shi ni shi ya gi chige chito de sibu de sibu pak ngi no gi chito ta chito yo mare so mare ta ya gi shi ya no rang la gun ni gu de me de ya chig de ta nen do ji ji re so mare ta ji zang de ye shi de no sa matana ha chang xiao hi chige chito mi sa chige chito yo mare 시차 제도 미송사 다 시차도 당산에 유라 메지 시차도 당산 세계인데 밑에 유라 지금 말이지 유진 시발라 지금 그 유진 시발라 지금 대수네 그래서 유진 시발라 시차왕 당사 의미를 자고 유진 시발라 당차도 시차 의미를 희희가 여러 마도 밑에는 당시 시차 의미 희고 말이지 자구사 그러나 시차 미중이 있으면 리제지 디바다고 맨날 와기 통대가는데 진짜 리수나 카다토고는 리사도 야부 통마가 너 이차가에서 때때스고 다 시차 메주이지 리지 디바다고 시차 메주이지 리지 디바다면 시차 그거 레스네 시차 요즘 시차 dimik이네 원 시차 나 이미 쇼히거든 그래서 트레이더 시차 메주와체 리지 디바다고 요상 리지 디바다고 다때 되네 지와 참다 되네 다월 때발 지주셔로다 디바다고 요사 대바 지주셔리 미사대바
나래
시작 중에서 디바다고 요래 손에 시장 합니다 대바 지주셔로
this distinction between the two types of this we can call it dullness of mind, maybe this the sinking of the consciousness. So maybe dullness is better here. So you have the subtle and the coarse, and it's good to understand the distinction here. But again, these are things that become clear when you are actively engaged in a process of training the mind to attain shamatha, and otherwise they're like something that you haven't quite experienced. So they can be illustrated with sort of analogies or examples. So when we speak of the subtle type of dullness, again, it's where you haven't lost the features of the visualization. They're all there. They are all clear, but the sort of the mental grasp of that clarity has lost its edge. It's sort of slackened, even though the clarity remains. So this is a very serious obstacle to effective meditation. And it's especially serious because you can think for a long time that you have the proper grasp of the meditative object, and you can meditate for a long time. You can go on and on with this, and the mind is not, you're not meditating properly, even though you think you are, because you don't quite understand this concept of the subtle dullness. So the subtle dullness, you could say, is this lack of intensity, where you have the clarity, but there's a slackness to the way in which the mind is relating to that clear object of meditation. So the object is very stable, the grasp of it is firm. The slackness is, or that produces this subtle dullness, is just a certain lack of intensity where the mind is fully relating to that object and not just holding sort of a visual image of it. So here we must understand that the process of meditation here is not simply holding a clear image, but it's also relating to that image, the mind relating to it in a very sort of alive way. So the object becomes, in a sense, alive and very sharp and interesting to the mind. The mind is fully engaged in it. So it's this heightened intensity of the meditation and the holding of the meditative object. So intensity doesn't mean the sort of just a very tight grasp of it. And the illustration Geshe gives here is that we hold things in a different way. Say you have your prayer beads in one hand, and in the other you have a bowl with something in it. The way you hold them is different. With the hand that holds the prayer beads, you don't have to be so careful with that. There's sort of a slackness to it. The bowl filled with hot liquid, or the teacup filled with hot liquid, this you're going to hold in a different way. There's going to be a lot of mindfulness there because you don't want to spill it and it's hot and everything else. You're also holding effectively the prayer beads, not dropping them or anything, but there's a slackness there. There's a lack of engagement with them when you're just holding them, whereas your mind is fully engaged with that bowl or the cup of the hot liquid. Another illustration Geshe gives is that of the of faith in the Lama who is transmitting to you and the teachings and guiding you in their practice. Faith is the key thing that you need to succeed at it. Faith in the Lama. And so this faith sometimes can be very strong and very much sort of very lively, vital faith. But then sometimes it's sort of a slackened faith or a lazy faith where, sure, you have the faith, you haven't lost it at all, but it doesn't have that intensity. So this is just an analogy to the meditation, that it's a different way that the mind is relating to its object. And again, something that becomes clear as we do the practice. But it's important to understand that there is this distinction that has nothing to do, sort of, you could say, objectively with the object itself, but rather with the way in which the mind is holding it, focusing on it, and relating to it. So if you have this subtle laxity or dullness or sinking, this puts a subtle barrier between you and the object, so that you're not really relating to it in the way that is necessary to progress in the meditation. Russell.
지금다 대인선 지원 참모다 딩게니 지원 참모다 딩게니 레알 니 차다 시샤 요반 다부 요레 숨레 니샤 니가 요레 시샤 요레 딩선 딩게다 딩겐제 당 고야게 딩겐제 당 지원 참모니 부데 치바에 가부 히부 요레스 지선 대 치바에 가부 요선 지원 참모데 딩겐제 뭐 튀르게 뭐 좋아하지 하마 되게 하마 가부 기바도 뭐 니라 니샤다 시샤 요반 라이 시르 띵제도 띵게서 띵니사 지원 참모니 치바에 가신 지원 참모 사발랑 다 지원 참모이나 지원 참모 사발랑 니 한국이 누구 좋아하시는 한국이 누구 좋아하시는 내가지 보다 센터만 요바 열다 지원 참모리한테 지도 센터에 한국은 그 lungu 좋아 치네 내자리서 내 두고 이랬어. 다 띵에는 잡고 살았고. 양 참을래.
Ale, de u ki mate.
이제 다들 희내군에서 희다게 때문에 차원 한분도 그 우체네 내 두고 열어. 주제 좀 내 니수다 내 두고 열어.
Ale, u
한국은
kanyang
또
meba.
먹어가지고 놀로 돈내 두고 열어. 희내군 됐어 거다. 단 한국은 그 우체는 다 우치로 동고 말아. 뭐 때문에 자주 열지. 정말 참을래야 돼 자주다. 너니 더 성격 띵게 군지는 때 야버려. 나 정말 참을래야 군지 정말 참을래 나봐자데 한국은 그 좋아 쳐봐 열이서. 그래서 제시에 때는 자주 정말 참을래 기다 띵게 나보여 살아 왔지. 이게 가보 기다 열이서. 무슨 거. 제가 정말 참을래 띵게 제니 니셔다 시샤요 번다. 시샤요 번다 그래서 제가 띵게다 띵게서 다 정말 참을때니 쳐봐 예 가시. 쳐봐 가보 열이서. 그나 정말 참을 쏴봐라. 정말 참을 쏴니 야무 쏴봐라. 한국이 한국은 누구 좋아하지 내자기 봐도 생 때봐 누구 좋아하시는 내자리서 내 두고 이랬어. 누구 좋아하시냐. 띵게 노기게. 진짜 야부 상대로
Nade.
옆에 되잖아. 내가 이전에 벼 하만 가시게. 벼 하만 가시게 담에 한번 가시게 들을 튀네. 정말 참고 때는 띵게도 튀네. 르로라 군로 산로. 르르라 군로 산로 들게 가져 가벼 종아리에서 벽에 한번 기방 먹게. 군로라 르로 집아 소스 하주에 집아서 하주에 집아 종아리에서 이제 종아리에서 종아리에 하바지야 종아리에서 문 튀네. 진짜 그때 군이 내 마찬가지에서 군이 내 아버지 마찬가지에서 정말 참으로 군 튀딩에서 군 튀는 난디에 내 마찬가지에서 말해. 정말 참으라 군 튀나 내 마찬가지에 또 가르스나 정말 참으라 군 튀는 군이 나네. 때 군야 돼 생각이 배도 요 말해서 좋아. 네가 봐도 모두 튀니 그게 되네. 가르스 그 군은 리부 가르스나 주주메게 주도 주메는 지약 주나 두고 말했어. 주도 주메는 지원이야 줘야 그 두고 말했어. 센들이야 징이 때문에 그때 들에 군기는 센들이야 징이 쳐. 구마저 걸래 나서 제일 큰다고. 니 싫어 미서도 싫어야 돼. 뚜루뚜루도 안 오다. 아니 징에 쳐 안 되게 해서 다 군기나 센들이야. 제 처음에 다 리버리 봐서 센들이야 라지 징에 쳐 안 오고 희바 메서 안 오고 누구 그래서 내 생각이 사실 되지면 내 창에 열을 별로. 뭐 희버리서네 네, 그래도 기도 딸이야 몇 약기니 키우면 거는 야셔도 뭐 거는 희바 때문에 안돼 통주래. 요래. 공공신에서 돈을 이 뜻하시면 그래. 내가부터 살려셔. 내내 쇼도 딸끼니 키우는 그런 키우야 내가 내는 눈도 보는 거래. 그래서 이 사람 왔다 산던데. 네가 거미데. 이때는 요래. 그런 밖에서 기가도 가라디세 가라 맞는 그런 가라 사고에서 그 말을 요래. 근데 그 중에 다 뜻에 주박이 준을했어 그러니까 희가는 근데 이제 자신이 기다려 내봤다 요살에 공 끼운 거는 그 계산 그 야주 내가 말더니 거기까지 안에 그 내봤다 별거 그래. 근데 다 저를 별다 요래. 니구나라 요래 니구나래. 그 기분 저거 살아 줬지. 야버로 또 정말 참도 군 튀는 산이 있어. 제가 이제 제가 예까지 시. 정말 참을 사람을 한국을 너무 좋아치. 한국을 너무 좋아치지. 내자기 봤더니 세 때문에 이제 내자를 봤대 세 때문에 내가 요래서 내가 이따 벼 한번 가시서 내가 튀니서 려로라 군로 지수 하주에 제바서 한바 제바래서 군지 내마 제바래서 때 군에 내마 제바래 군내 신이는 좋아 참을 뭐 시그러와 진짜 좋아 참을라 군도 튀나 리부 주주미 저장하면 군도 튀나 되게 리부 군 리부 주주미 지야 줄다는 두고 말했어 이게 띵에서 그 수수미 지야 그러 사는 누톤에 수수 찍으러 사는 거이 돈 수미 찍으러 와 그래서 근데 기선 신들이야 징이 쳐왔던 히로 메스도 징이 쳐왔던 히로 메스도 루이사 히로 시부면 그래서 둔들도 더 시도 공부하다 둔들 루토기 치도 둔들 지야 그 줄도 더 시도 공부하다 잘해서는 따블리 만중이 있어 때말 조용 말씀 둔들 지야 그 조금도 마중 안 했습니다. 다나 됐을 거다. 네. 라군나 들지 군 튀고 군이 까지 군가 있네. 그게 배도 말래. 신들이야 히로메서 그래 징이 샤도 그래. 네 제가지 Dzindu Jia Jogunda no Chandu Gesmore. Whatever the Geshe and the government machine.
Oh, that's
You want to the Habo Samaro.
oh, that is
The thing is when the Pula at the Yuring and the Kalapati and the Madonna Kal to go to Lom hit the Yuri. So she would say that never hit the cookie, he would do never bird birds in the Pentagon. The one that my kind then she can't culture color to the kind of Luna to not to go to a logimare. That he will have in his secretary. Nila Timothy Jinu Kaju the Yuri. The Mushi join Saro. Then the best town was the Jiwan Chama good to the Guam Mando and the Chinese Saro. Many things in the nation at the Chagamaro. Then there is Mando. Then the didn't the Lanichi Lodu, my little town, and the Red Water, and the Houston Water in Jiro.
Bloody. Okay, so further on this point, this is a very key point because it said that if you have this subtle type of dullness, the subtle dullness or sinking or laxity, whatever we want to call that, it's very much, it appears very much like what it looks like and even feels like to attain single-pointed concentration. Even the characteristics of actually practicing shamatha, actually reaching that state of perfect single-pointed concentration. Because both of them have the clarity and stability with regard to the meditative object. So how do you tell these apart, and is it really important to tell them apart? So first of all, yes, it's vital to tell them that you make this distinction and understand the distinction when you engage in this practice of cultivating shamatha. If you don't, there is a great pitfall here. There's a great danger of just really wasting your time. And this could be wasting an awful lot of time, months or years even of practice. So that will become clear as it's described. When you're in this state of meditation and this subtle dullness is there, and you have the clarity and stability with regard to the object, so you think you are meditating quite well on it. Subjectively, it seems like you have gotten to the to that state of just about perfect meditative concentration. And so some of the signs of attainment of perfect single-pointed meditation are present. For example, as you engage in this type of meditation, that is to say, single-pointed meditative concentration, your body and mind attain this this state of pacification, you might say, where the body is completely comfortable, the mind is very much focused stably and clearly on its meditative object, and your need for things like food or moving around or things like that is all pretty much left behind. You're absolutely at ease in that state, and you continue to visualize that object very clearly, and even the breathing has slowed down to the point where it's not even perceptible. The air moving in and out of your lungs is so subtle, so slowed down that you're getting all the oxygen, I guess, that you need without any noticeable breathing. So someone looks at you and tries to see are you alive or dead. Well, they can't tell by the breathing because it is so slowed down, so subtle. But yet you are seated in the proper meditative posture, and your mind is focused very well on the object. But the way that you're holding it, the way the mind is relating to it, is not correct. It's not a sort of a lively, vital thing that you're holding there, but rather you're holding just that image. And you can remain stable for a long time, like for a whole day, without any sign of of breathing or anything else, external sign. And because of this, Geshe is explaining, this is something that has baffled many practitioners in Tibet, and you can find all sorts of discussion of this, where, especially in the earlier times in Tibet, this state, although it was the subtle dullness, was being confused completely with the proper single-pointed meditative concentration. And so it was taken to be the proper type. And it's written about as this state of the most profound meditation with complete unity and relaxation of the body and mind into that meditative state. So, but the key aspect of meditation was missing. And so the subtle dullness is being at that point conflated with, mixed up with meditation. And because of that confusion, that mistake of conflating them, people would go on and on. And these are people in the great monasteries and in the great meditative hermitages and so forth. They'd go on and on in this state. But the result of this is not what one is aiming at. And even the rebirth in the form and formless realms cannot be reached by that kind of meditation where subtle dullness exists. And even in this life, instead of the mind gaining strength and the power from the meditation that is expected, the mind remains a bit dull and unfocused outside of the meditation. So normally, if you're doing the meditation properly, when you arise and in the time between meditative sessions, the mind is extremely clear and remains very, very focused. So the example here that's being given, Geshe says that it is like when you're doing the generation stage practices of Tantra, and you are generating yourself as the deity. And in order to do that effectively, you need this single-pointed meditative concentration on the deity, and then visualizing yourself as the deity. And then through that, the power of that meditation, you become the deity in the tantric process. So the example here that's given is, say, instead of generating yourself as the yidam, as the deity, you're visualizing yourself as an animal. Well, if you visualize yourself as an animal, then you're cultivating sort of the mental qualities of the animal. This is not what you want to do. You want to gain the transcendent qualities of the yidam, not of an ordinary animal. But that's in fact what happens when you practice meditation continually with this subtle dullness. The mind becomes actually dull. And it's like you're doing a generation stage practice where you're generating yourself as an animal. So this is very strong words to say, understand and avoid this subtle type of dullness or laxity in your meditative practice.
Ta gopa re, jingweni ga gopa kanshin na sam. Papa tumi lope ne, papa tumi ge ndo kanti ko le. Gopa kanshin na dubi tsama yisun jubi de shaji chatu bi sen na ba ma she wa te. Shine je padu jubi li chen no sa ta, shine padu jubi ta gopa de jan tiwari. Hisun ba ta asin. Dubi yulang sa, de shaji yula sen choa ji bi yu. Dubi tsama sa pena hamin duga tabo nyamu tiba na Chenmo lang di lhama tala di lhama hangri tenpa yinto deshaji yi tongwa jisu tenpa hiko osa ta goba kariri na deshaji chatuji yesu rabuji goba kanshi dubi tsama sa ne yi dubarwa yi nijibo chagen chisagi 지난 대사지 차도에 센나마 마셔 지리 소리 센나마 마셔게 희내지 받주 희내는 받주 희내는 지금 이랬어 그바디가 전에 니 영화 지바리 희수마다 맨날 두비 유나서 두비 니지 보고 유나서네 대사지 유라 센 또는 대사가 오기 사진 오기 잘하게 통된 안데 주나 때 아버 힘도한테 주나 양사지 차지어랑 가서 진짜 달라 집이 유튜브 생활다 이 니지 보통 근데 내가 아버지도 저 아버지도 아버지 날 그렇잖아 저러 진짜 제가 빼나 하모사 빼나 님이 걸려라 지 하모다 버터 벨 하모 트라이다 하모 디가 버터 디가 트로네 라서 단도 뜻이디 너무 띠비니 센주 나로 니들 쳔모야디 화 항이 대야도 쳔모나야 많이 그 니들 마찬가지 토사다 딱이 토도 그냥 된다 지도 진짜 단지 화다 항이 대바야도 근데 누가 저 강한 팀 다시 살로 되는 시 나로 되어요. chen 니디 거 생각이 강하게 돼야도 되는 나 대바 해도 산대사기 진짜 나 해도 대사기 일래로 이 차진 거기 지수 때문에 레슨 이 전에 텐디 아들이 거바레선에 세만 내마 도와지네 하전 한테 딱이 한번 누가 다시 갔다시게 지 통화 여러 때 양이 텐디 되는데 네, 이제 세만 내모 도와기만 돈 왜야 그진데 거바스 됐어요. 잠바시 고삼. 저 거바스 그랬어. 아니, 세 위를 틀어야 됐어. 초도 거반데 초로 맞아. 초 거바 제발 요래서네. 이제 세 위를 틀어야지. 내 뒤에야 초도 거바 제발 요래서네. 아니, 제발 가려서나. 그래서 다다보. 나가 너우다고 이해도 뭐 다다볼 이해도 거 말아. 손 코르서 내 지금 수 다다보니까 그 통도 뭐 이해도 뭐 코르서 하고 그러면 이거 가부샤가 말어. 얘도 명화라서 나세비 거지 코르트니까 그때 아산로지 세지 여러 이콜라네 센트라지 여러 이콜라 콜베 센트로 그 센산 쿨 사그로 그 아무면 이따 지난 센트 좋아스러면도 제가 말해서 아 세비 거지 좋아해서 신내고비세 젬바동 추팅송 내기 일을 좋아셔로 젬바동 어디 송 들리지요 들래 유래 처럼 홍인데 거기 잡아도 근데 편세지 사고 좋아서 이 좋아져로 근데 제발 열어서 좋아다 보니 좋아해 가지고 그거 말해서 다다 들었는데 세 두바지 두셔지는데 그거 말해서 다요 야부지야 들래 세 발틀려도 좋아하면 그거 말해서 좋아도 그거 제발 열어서 자 그거 얘는 때 그거지 젬바동 어디 신송 와서 기 유라 좋아다 보니 좋아해 그거 많이 넣어서 뭐야 따뜻하지 주셔라 거지.
Now, at this point, we go on to the second aspect of this is of its third fault. The first one being the dullness or laxity, literally the sinking of the mind. That's been described now. The other one is the literally what's called the scattering of the mind. It's a state of sort of excitement or attachment to something other than the meditative object. And so this is where the mind becomes unfocused on the object, even though you might still have that mental image of the object in your mind. The mind is sort of drifting elsewhere. So here, if we look at what defines this state of scattering or excitement, we look to Asanga, Arya Asanga, in his Abhidharma Samuccaya. He defines it, and he says, what is this state of mental scattering that interferes with the cultivation of shamatha? It is a disturbed state of mind. It is a form of attachment that where the mind becomes led astray by something that is more attractive to it. Okay, that's how he defines it. So when he says more attractive, it means more attractive at that moment than is the object of meditation. And so the mind starts focusing on or thinking of something that's more, at that moment, more interesting to it. And so it wanders off to that object. It scatters to that object. It becomes excited by that object of attachment, or that object which appears or is experienced as being very attractive. An example of this is just in our ordinary activities. If you go, say you go to an opera that you like, and in the opera there's a beautiful scene or aria or something that especially attracts you. Then later on that day, the next day or at night, that very attractive episode or whatever in the opera will come to mind again and again. And when it comes to mind, then that becomes the focus of your mind rather than whatever else you might be doing. So that is natural, that the mind tends to go towards objects that are attractive to it, that are interesting to it. So here in the practice of meditative concentration, where you're trying to attain shamatha, that perfect, stable, one-dimensional focus, then this becomes an obstacle. So this is said to be a type of loss of focus. Now, there are other types of loss of focus. All of them obstruct the process of attaining the single-pointed meditation. So, but they act differently. Now, to give an example of that, when you're meditating, perhaps something unpleasant, unattractive arises in the mind. And that if it captivates the mind, then the mind loses its focus. and goes towards that unpleasant, unattractive object, something that's bothering you, something you're worried about, something like that. So that it's something that causes some anxiety with you and things like that. That can interfere with your meditative concentration. Or it can be, rather than an unpleasant or unattractive object, it can be a virtuous object. Say you're captivated by the great virtue of some form of generosity or some authentic ethical or moral practice or something like that. All sorts of virtuous objects. The mind can suddenly go off in that direction, sort of scatter off to that direction. Now, these are forms of the loss of focus in meditation, but they're not what's being referred to here as the scattering or excitement of the mind to an attractive object. There's something a little different, although in both cases there's the loss of focus for however long. In the worst thing, the thing that really is of concern here, and so therefore it is what is called the scattering or excitement of the mind, is something which is the mind wandering to something which is very attractive. And what's the difference here? When the mind goes off to the unattractive object, the object which provokes worry or anxiety or fear or something like that, it will go there, but it won't stay there. It's unpleasant. So it's like it will appear and just for a moment interfere with the meditative focus, but the mind goes back to the object of meditative focus because that object was not, it's not a pleasant object. The mind doesn't want to stay on it. So it goes back to the meditative object rather quickly. And the same with the virtuous object. It's like the mind makes note of that virtuous object, but then it goes back easily to its meditative focus. So what's being meant here by the scattering or excitement of the mind is only that which focuses on something which is very attractive to the mind, because this is what captivates the mind. This is what the mind doesn't want to abandon and return to the meditative object. It wants to go with that attractive, pleasant memory, thought, image, and then the meditative focus is not just lost for a moment, but you can really go off and the mind can scatter to that other thing, and then suddenly you realize you've been meditating on that attractive object for a long time. In other words, you've been obsessing with it, you've been holding on to it, and the meditative focus then can become like forgotten for a longer time. So this is what we need to apply the antidote for specifically. The other types of loss of focus tend to resolve themselves rather quickly. This one can really lead you astray for a good while. Okay, so we'll take our 15-minute break right now then, and then come back.
뭐였어? 다다데 원나 투구니 신이지 빠주 신이지 빠주 연면서 그바 코나 빠주도 빠도 주도 빠주도 조바지 신나 때때니 러다
맞아요.
초도 그바니가 신이게 빠도 주지 제샤스 이나야 그바 코나 신이게 빠도 주지 송샤스 라테 조가 카리스 초 미지카네 빠도 주지 송샤 그바 송샤도 카리스 나사 더
맞아요.
라테 기미비 이동 기미바 유로 근데 제바ton 유 진선 이때 유로 네 생기야 저기야 일미 그러 아 신나기 용어 달리 다트랑 신나기 샤그러 제가 유라 초안네 데 기기 유미바ton 신나기 유라 초안네 노아데 스마다 진짜 초초해야 돼 기미발 초안다 신나기 초안네 시다 뉴뉴디 초동지바 이나야 초아데 맞아 아레스 제가 도토리 트나 추추다 마도 달리 동레스 나가 저한테 대사지 일에 투지 망게 됐으나 거바 대사 일이 진주가 있었네 토아 먹게 나야 저한테 대사지 일에 투지데 휴침부리 저 이부치 기토를 예좀발 데리게 되잖니 대야레스 말에 거바 대사가 사도 이상 야샤레네 토아데 맞아 그 연투 추추 연투를 되게 맞아 루스는다 데레 여도서 차이지라 트시나 마이 전에 상상하나 제하와라 순제사 제데서 거바 코나 숨바이 거바 코나 때 숨바리 초아데 데리시를 맞아레스 요새 디시나 신이 고바나 이동 명월라 초 신이 고바나 이동 와도 명월라 초아도 제바동다 차체와서 tem바타보 겨월라 초하니까 신이 고비 고소 세니야 받지베니 예스다 이내 앞에나 신이 고비 고소 이동 와라 초하다 제바동다 차체와다 데고서 tem바타보 겨월라 초하니까 신이 고비 고소 세니바 라 받지 신이 고바 받지비 받지 그래서 가 받지 신이 고비 고소 다가 가그레스 말이야 그냥 나나 가그레스네 이제 거기 또 자요 말이스 가그소사 미데 예지이나 나게 미데 예지이나 미데 예지이니 쉐데로 나게 미데 조로 기네 고 띵에데 미데 유데 그 예지이니 쉐데사 라리타보 라리스 하고 공바나 지신이 제로하다고 하고 공다 뭐 야보라 돈벌이다 그제 제니지도 제노지다 진로 타보서 미데 쇼안에서 거바라바서 가르스나 너무 군데 시바오르는 나오라 군데 버르질라네 센누데 차네 진로는 미데 파파 유나도 아테 제데 내가 거바라바서 그래서 미데 예지윤이 쇼도한테 로리 사고고바나 지hin이 진로 타보 미데 쇼안에 거바라바서 그래서 야 저원이 추주가다 차바가 오늘 추주고 미게 토조 크로 죽으러 됐어 그다 미데 예지 마셔 미데 예지야 쉬요 말이 미바다 차거디네 세제 수샤히 세게 수샤히바 세게 수지 히네도 바고 히네도 비고 오지 수도 이 예동이 나바 차라케 따보 그바 중앙에 그바 참을다 세게 히네 공거디네 히네 공이네요 세게 수지래요 차이가 유나버트나겠네 지금 올라가 지금 그도 어때 그바 참을 세우고 그바 참을 때 일하고요 마스 아 기내 구미바 단위는 백신데 생기 미바 기내 구미만에 미바 띠니 요네요 버루질이야 차비 유나버트나게 이 동안도 차비 좀 되는 센터라가 지지요서 때 그바 참을서 그랬네 그바 레스지노 이 동안에 나빠진 찰라케 따보네 그바 중앙에 따보서 그바 중앙에 그바 참을때 그바 참을서 그랬어 왔다 디나사 주세 디시는 게진데 다서 주비 내보사 게진데 다사데 지마도 그바니 버스다 다 주비 내보 가르지 그스는 거네 시전이다 시데다게 네 지마도 그바니 보데 시내 그비 게진 타고 됐든 다 줘야게 내보 가르르스나 ngui 가르쳐 시냐 알았어 시냐 말했어 시냐 지금 누구도 못 따는 잘하지 있는 소바라고 되면 그 무슨 그냥 그 저거 말했어 시냐 매장에서 뒤 차도 봤어 맨날 뒤 차도 말라 소치 바긴다 시냐 맨날 그때 차도 가르치네 지금도 그번에 눈도 못 닦게 지긴 게 그게 근데 마음에 쓰겠네 맞아 전에 소바통도 왔던 이게 네 지금이 우리도 아무도 잘하는데 뭐 지금 희에 지금 때 잘하지 지금 희에 됐어 그래 뭐그 근데 무슨 내부지 뮤직에도 그 말했어 이네 그 딸이 희에 따네 지금 우리도 아무것도 따네 되게 그 해라 따네 진짜 그 희에 지금 잘하지 그때 희에 들었어 그랬어 이제도 주변에 내부는 희에 말했어 옛날에 뒤 차도 빼나 말아 소치 바지 마음에도 쓰게 마음에도 다두도 수바 한타 요라시오노 이게 지금 좀 유튜브 치 지금 그도 아무도 따이시도 도지 제체서 내부 도지 제로 내부 도지 투바 신년때 투바 신년이다 지지는 투바 신년때 신년때 그래서 도지 지는 내방아지 바부 내부 도지 너네 니 투바디 신년이샤다 시다 투바 신년때 그래 투바 신년때 같으리 소리 대왕 신년 좀 메치바테 나스 신년 좀 메치바테나 니발라 기수 주기선 되네 대한테 시제 좀 미시바테나 니들이 기수 주그레스 때 무슨 힘이 자지요 말 그때 그도 힘 따그려 뭐도 그 무슨 따는 그 가요 말해서 좀 미시바테나 니발라 기수 주시면 니 내가 기수 그랬네 내가 힘이 진나 그런 띵에 뱀바 때는 만디와지냐 누가 다시 이제 수지는 있는 거죠 무슨 주기 시제 때나 마테나스나 때니 마테나 띵게질라 전 슈세점 지가 시제 때나 마테나 띵게질라 전 슈세점 미시바 금이 너치 미시바스 금이게 너치 세바 이제던 주이스 그나 지가 시제 때나 마테나 답변에 그바나 지가 그바 회사수나 시제 때나 마테나 띵게질라 전 슈세레스 지가 무슨 하마 그바지 고마워는 너치 고마워 코사도 샤네 너 마이브 코사도 고마워 코사로 왔대 뒤주고 대야 못 되는 게 샤게를 되는 시제나 무슨 띵게질라 전 슈세점 세점서 빼나 미시바 라가 마시바 고마워 이제 고마게 수금 너 시세바 이제는 좋아했을 고마워 잘라 킨 사스는 뒤주고 다시 이제 카페에 가버렸다 뭐고는 그 유구도 한번 따네 고마워 해도 한번 따킨도 희한테 희한 됐어 그러다 그냥 희한 땡가가 말스 이제 걸 희한 봐 희한 따다고 지그레스 너 희한 맞는 먹을래 희한 땡지요 말스 구두 그치는데 내 잘하지는 이제 희한스 미다셔라 희바지기 세뉴지기 미다 희냐 이거도 알아 때는 이거 계속 전에 시제 때나 맞대나 띵게질라 전 슈세장서 답변나 자라 컨선은 그 소바 좀 쉬어 봤더니 희한 때나 맞대 띵게 전 슈세나 배워 말이 희한 때 말스 세장서 미시버 금이 너치 생각이 도지 하마고 고마고 너 컨선은 때는 따주지 이제 소바 배워 말 고만 자는 회사를 나그랬어 배나 자신전리 조아리비 시신에 도스 시바따라 시신에 다디 시신은 조아리바 시신에 도스 자신전리가 다 순산도스 조아리바 시신에 있어 때래 무사리 상리니 시신에 다서 시신에 도쇼마도 시바다 시신에 다디 쇼스마도 그나 시신에 제마데스마다 시신에 다디세 고고소 진구 몸무게 또바 주니 고고소 진구 몸무 또바 주니 자라 지그데 고고라 진구 몸무 또바 주니 자라 지그데 시신에 자라 지그래 뭐도 근데 시신에 시신에 되는 거로 왔듯이 그래 주니 자라 지그데 사변나 주줄리 일단 세제 니콜라 양니하도 다자 와서 주주 치어로 주줄리 나루 두어 말이야 루 제바레다 주줄리 일단 세제 니콜라 양도 따바자스 일단 세 리세기 니콜레 양도 따쇼스 따지긴 따시네데 근데困難 돈 안에 시행 수이 생들 때때困難 수 안에 시행 수이 있다 시행의 수이 생들이 시행이들 생이 제가 가르치나 그 지하로 시행 근데困難 돈 안에 시행 수이 생도 시행의 수이 생이 있다 저도 뭐 다치는 시행이 다 리젠이 있어래 희수사 디나서 푸비 자수나 라비세마 데나 제가 주신 뒤신나 푸바는 자루사가 푸바수나 라비세마다 남부 중마다 대야 유추 수마서 김이 따와요 푸바게 자루사가 푸바싱발라 라바게 아니 라비게 sendu amado tambo zong yapun chudu amado teyang pasu chuchu yedu amado suma su mi taba ina yige tenbi mi ten tenpa ki mi ten yabu ji sen de tingin ze tong mi ten tenpa yoro tenpa ki mi ten sen de tenpa ki pa ki mi ten ka ni ta tingin ze yu mi ten de ji sen su na zen ta tangbu ji tenpa tangbu shi ji hi ji jinggun ju mu ju ta ni sa hi ki jinggun ju mu de ta ji hi ju na ji yu pa ka mi ba chong gu sa hi ni hiro ji cha dom hi 시간에 생주가 자신이 희록이 찾도록 해서 대박이 되는 이미 되는 거 줘 이제 나야 당부 나와 지그리 근데 들려네 지금 희록은 누구 딱히는 희에 지그리 틀지 산에 대박 희에 세트를 해서 말다 희에는 희록이 찾도 그 가래 찾도 희록이 찾도록 해서 말에 땡겨서 찾도 대박 지저살다 내가 집에 해서 말라 희에는 희록이 찾도 소사
that's nice. Okay, so the this scattering, where the mind interested in something else and goes off to consider something else other than the mental object or the object of the meditation. So, as was noted before, there's these three general types of loss of focus when and they depend on what object the mind strays off the meditative object to consider. So, as was noted, if the object is an unpleasant one or a virtuous one, then the mind strays off, but it naturally returns fairly quickly to the object of meditation because those don't hold the interest of the mind very long. And so the main obstacle here is the third type of loss of focus, which is when the mind turns towards something which is attractive, something that's beautiful, something which really holds one's interest and can really lead the mind astray for a significant amount of time. So this is the thing that we have to be most concerned with here. So then how do we restore the clear and vibrant mental focus on the object of meditation? This is done by applying one of the what was called the remediations. So at the very beginning of this section, a few weeks ago, the section being the actual way to achieve shamatha, it's mentioned that there are these 5 faults that we have to be aware of, and then the 8 remediations that are the antidote to those 5 faults. So as we've been going along, we've been mentioning the antidote or remediation for each of them. So now when we consider the sinking and scattering, or the dullness and the excitement, these have a remediation, and the remediation, there's 2 of them, but these 2 remediations apply to both the sinking and the scattering, and these are what we call mindfulness, which has been mentioned before, and then what's called the vigilance or circumspection. So we'll consider how those work here. And before those are described in detail, what Geshe mentions here is that there's also a distinction between the coarse and the subtle types of scattering. So the coarse type of scattering is where the mind just forgets about for a long or short time just forgets about its object and goes off in another direction to the pleasant or unpleasant or virtuous object. But again, we're concerned mostly with the pleasant object because the other ones don't hold the mind, don't distract the mind that much. It's the pleasant, the beautiful, the attractive object that really leads the mind astray in the practice of meditation. So again, coarse distraction or coarse scattering here is where you just completely lose your meditative object and focus on that other object. The subtle type of scattering is where the mind does not lose the focus or does not lose hold of the meditative object. So you still have the appearance of the meditative object. You haven't lost it. It's appearing clearly in the mind, but there's something sort of going on underneath. So you might call it a subliminal process that's taking place, that the mind is in some subtle way just getting a little bored, you might say, with its meditative object because it has this other thing in mind, this other thing which is more, which is seen as more interesting, more attractive at the moment. But with the power of the meditation, you're keeping hold of the object. It still appears clearly, but there's this underlying or subliminal process where you sort of feel that attractive object. You're not really focusing on it, but it's taking energy away from that single-pointed meditation on the meditative object. So it's subtle. It's not like the Course where you completely forget your object, but you have the object, but you have this secondary process going on. In the example Geshe gives, it says it's like water flowing under a sheet of ice. So you don't see anything on the surface, nothing obvious, but underneath there's this, the mind is still getting attracted to the beautiful object. So the antidote to this, the remediation, involves what's called circumspection or vigilance, and this is sort of an auxiliary that is used in your meditation. And the example here that's given is, it's like the government has its spies, or an army has its, what do they call them, scouts, that they're not, they're the sort of undercover or auxiliary to the army or to the government. They don't travel with the army, they're separate. They're the ones, they're sort of like the eyes and ears of the army, or the spies being the eyes and ears of the government. Their function is to keep the government informed. So in this case, this circumspection or vigilance is keeping the mind informed about what's going on, but it's not the main function of the mind. The main function of the mind here in meditation is to hold the meditative object. But there's different ways, as we're seeing, to hold it. You can be holding it and still have the subtle dullness or the subtle excitement going on, which is preventing the meditation from being effective. So you need something to counteract that. And the first thing you need is this vigilance or circumspection, which lets you know that something else is going on, that the mind has slipped into some subtle dullness, or the mind has slipped into an attraction to something else, even though the object still appears to the mind. So this is said to be a type of wisdom, a function of wisdom, to keep the mind informed, but it can't itself become the main function of the mind. If it does that, then the vigilance or circumspection is becoming itself an object. Just like if the government has too many spies everywhere, then the function of government to promote the common welfare is being destroyed by that which was originally sent to protect it. So with that sort of a example, we can understand that the cultivation of this vigilance, which is the sixth of the 8 remediations or antidotes to the 5 faults, is there merely to inform the mind that some sort of this excitement or laxity, dullness has arisen. So it's to be used very sparingly, but effectively. If it becomes continuous, if all you're doing is being vigilant, well, then the mind spying on the mind, it becomes dysfunctional. It becomes a hindrance to the meditation. So it has to be applied sparingly, just at the right time, but consistently. So its function is to keep the mind from straying off in one of those 2 directions of the dullness or the excitement. And so the vigilance itself has to be kept in check, applied from time to time as needed. So Shantideva in the Bodhisattvacharya Avatara says that off and on the mind must check on itself. In other words, the state of the body of mind, he says, must be examined now and then. And the nature of this examination, called vigilance, is like that of a guard or sentry that just keeps an eye on things and informs only when necessary. And another analogy that's given here is that of what happens when you are holding a cup of tea or a bowl of some hot soup or something in your hand. Your main task is to hold it, and so that it can be, so you can enjoy it or give it to someone else. But you have this secondary task to keep an eye on how you are holding it. For if you don't keep an eye on that, keep aware and vigilant, then you might tip it and spill some of it. So the mind is mostly focused on just coordinating the holding of the bowl. And in order to do that properly, you have to have this secondary sort of vigilance, which keeps checking on whether you're doing a good job of holding it, and so that it doesn't spill. So in meditation, you're using these two functions of mindfulness and circumspection, or vigilance. The mindfulness is what allows you to sort of retain the object, the image, firmly and clearly. You're mindful of the object itself as you've been taught to visualize it. That's the mindfulness. The visualization is the function of checking now and then and seeing has any of this subtle dullness or subtle scattering arisen, and if it has, then the mindfulness restores the clarity and vibrancy of the object in the mind. So you have to have this careful balance of not applying the vigilance too much or not enough. If you don't have enough of it, then it's like not having a sentry or something to guard your valuable possessions. Then the thief can come and carry off all your possessions without you knowing about it. But if you have too much of that, then the vigilance, the guarding becomes the main thing that the mind's doing, and that way you can lose the sharpness and integrity of your meditation.
Allah Nipa Jipa, Jingo Jun is never do Jipa day. That day, Nipa is that day, till I never think good as that. Nipa Jipa name. Jingo ni Garun Juana, never do Jipa, Nipa Yapi, T. Neporton. And I think it is not Jingo Jun, she is Jipana. Juma the Gobachu, she is Jipana, T. Total Majoba, Taran Jama Shabashi. Juma Ta, Jingo Tala Garun Juan. 지금 참아도 라바 가르 중앙에 때문에 주마 때문에 타도야 수 내버 땡기 그러면도 내가 맞지 내번도 맞지 봐자는 내가 찬데 내가 그러 땡기 베스 두지 따때이다 된 두지 제제 내방에 내버 두지 제제 나봐 내방에 번도 제바 사드레스 때지 내버도 지고 그래서 두지나 네 되게 내부 샤오래 제지나네 내가 내번도 제바 사야 되게 지고 그래서 가르치 우선 두지 semba 땡구 베나 두지비 두지에서 semba 땡구 바이에서 뭐 두지비 semba 땡구 레스노 대단히 수비 다중하는 베나 마라 이렇게 수바 소통 다중 그 통하는 다중 로그로 수 통하는 때 도발을 좀 봐지다 답해 도야 된다 좀 이게 오나 네버 컨다 땡기는 중앙 참원의 세 슈바인 Jian Chamun Sen Shumbi Nabajitko, Jian Chamun Sen Shumbi Nabaresum, Jijuni Kanti Jans, Duty to them. Jian the Shubani Kanti, Nabara Jibal and Dua. Jijuni Kanti Jan, Duty to them. Jian the Shumba Kanti and Duty this time. Dinner Sishat and Nature Yojan. The tongue upon Sisha Yodan, the tongue Nisha Yojan, the tongue of Palmar Sunte. 시장에 남이 봐 중앙 잘못됐잖아. 지금 시장 아유는 판말이 좀 다른 데다 시장 마말이 신이 한테 눌러 차네. 시장에 남이 봐 차네. 남이 봐 중앙 잘못됐잖아. 시장 일단 제동아지 판말을 손대. 제동아 판말을 손대 시장에 남이 봐서 중앙 잘못됐잖아. 중앙 잘못됐잖아네. 제 주어도 미바 땅 먹이서 다른 데마서 가도 좀 쉬었어는 천주에 미바 땅고 말이야 생각이 도저히 천주 먹어 미바 땅 먹어 세진 제땅 뒤도 좀 세진 야 뒤도 땅 고박간 대응 뒤잖아요 Dita Tintan, somebody did on the Gobachi, Gobachi Gri, Saint Toya Nabashini, Mibaga Mado, Gobachi Gris. Tinli Ramba Jasa, Tinli Mujasu, Saint Timbuja, Yaki, he took Timbujan Yas, Gobashal Gris. Tinli Rebuja Gris, she's not John the Ditching. Penasa Johnny the Susan to say, Tiziki, Panga Jew, Hatang Tin Traba, the Hill Traba. Mayaba, Dilu, Zambi, Sunny, King Heba Jumasa, Kumata. This is Joe, the Penga, Penga, and the Jew. This Joban over the Hatan Din Trada. Third trouble, Tinley, which you can do Tanaki of Jogmari, third Jogmas. You know, Ramujuna, this honey came here, which was then we get. And this Tiguni with the she and the name, Din Tower Mayba. And her Mayba, he did not put you to this one. You want Sumata? The Chena say, Gobacho Doon, Habachun, Gobacho Doon, Honey, Achun, Hurton, Massam, Papa Marton. This one, Yachin Doon, Habanyo, June, Tibetan, Yati, Yaturton, Tig. Tandini is hot there, Nanula Kid. Tandini is hot there, say Nanula Kid, she Nanula Kate, she, Jambu, Matana, she, Jambu, Matana, Hatan, Yokai, a vessel of me as soon as the color. Nanula Kid, she can present some which in plus Jigramata, Madana, Hatan, Jokais, and Jokava Chagris, the Peninsula Comaxum Sas. Somebody Gobachons, somebody in the Gobachon Gurus, sent to Navasan. He said, the one nation but your Jordan. The one nation but your Jordan, Sama Parmachi. These upon how you got. These upon how you Hekanas, that Legina. You have a car, you said them, she never got 100. These about 100 have a car, Hekanas, 100 Hekana, dog is sent to be in the chicken. That way, dog is sent to be chicken, just that. Here's what he took me to the session of the legend that took about 2 years in the coming of the soon you just send him. Dog is sent to be in the chicken, just. Scarcity that sound of the Nagit of you took it of soon as he said 2 years this thing. Yet on day none is a Nametan day Dutchuna. Yana also day none that Namin on a Dutchuna, Lavio means the Caviorasna. Namitan day Dutchuna. Raga Naga metal no Dutchuna, Nins and Kai, Nins and Cavior, Namin Dutchy, Sonny Homarasna, Nins and Kaise. Nature Ninga show this one. Tiwan needs a thing is on the Tian, Tamu the thing is on the junior cheese. Let up be Tiwan in Namanagdana, Tiwan thing is on the junior cheese. See in that Timbani, Sito, Douglas, Timbani is the negation. The teller saying to Tayasa, saying to little Butongro, Tadu saying Ashana, Tadu saying Ashur Guna. Since she was Tabu the time Messi in Natuna, Messi. She saying I shouldn't good none, since she was Tabu, the time Messi in Natuna, Messina, John Rabat Hebarat, Messina, John Rabat Harada. Yapping Oman Hebel soon was a Subamipa Jashentam, Gubi and Ban need to star. She was that, say not to do, say not to do cheese, say not to do cheese, me by Juzi tuning, Gonsan. Me by Juzi to the Gunda Hadashon to the Gonsa. These are my set, nice seeking to Nani, me by Tani, say Shumba. Me by Patante, say Shumba, Zitun, say Cortani as Zitun, Tossons. Guy told the he got like say ya no see say Gabu at the Hekan and then choosing consciously at the Dabodon. He need to be paying Dabodon. Don't you say the paying soup, Sante, says you do the same. This is a point of sharing, they say you to allow the pay, start and then don't you say the paying soup, says you to grace with him, saying you have to want to. She doesn't know it's some yellow chibatas. Thy me was so good to let the Thy me was so good. The Tanya Jiaga, me was so good. The dog will be sent upon 200. The Dutch in the say upon 32 to somebody, like him and you are hitting my mouth shed the sons on that. Lord, had me one that had any me but Panzes. Then I'm alone with me, but I'll lose your mother, Paddy Lurch and the chief's door. Hang on me, Banze. Roaring, huh? Lula Magubi, the theater, Papa Hokan. Another Haman little leg. Gompa Yama thing is the theater, Papa. Who cover your rest will go to the Hungry. Kaya. Gompa he and it, then he got that let his so Sambi Nola. Here then Gompa you catching them. Didn't he got on charm, but then let's say son. Then sound grace. This is Sambi say. And he do a short amount of again. This song in the Dula short amount of Sangro, then October Gail, the grace was saying, yeah. Kubayana, what me this cover your race. Tadu Messina, Chiwans and Toso. Tadu and Sikamana, Chiwans and Toso. Jotos, Rosenica, Chiwans and Toso. Gentos in the Paka and then Rankin said that Hika, Yokabi Navas say. Rankin said and Hika, Yokabi Navas. In the pace and Dodge on the Pedagini, this soon the turning. Knocking a tumble, so the say knocking a tumble as soon. Naka the immediately was stand and nature. Then Naka, that one Naka peach in the sand. You cover the now the pin and Naka immediately fellows on the last on the Tony. Chijurism. That's it. She's not Jivachasa. Tadu Messina turned on the geology, Jesu, that Tadu Sigmund turned on the geology, Joe Mubata Nita, Saint Tibet now to see Toki Jesu with that. But the use your madison, see table number can see to Sisa de Tot and non Sisa of the Transan of Tandy, and then Saki Tuki Yamado, Sat Tombolayandi, and he has some girl, Pension Chabadan, don't chill to us or Josh also that. That in the Masana and Haji me by Zesa, the Damason, the Passons, and Haji me by Zeshos with the Bada, the Jagomata.
Oh, that's
The Bajan, Naso, the Bajan.
that's
Zajina Samba, Nas, the Passons, and Haji me by Zeshos. He also do some around. He that me Jago Saramato, in Sarwa, also, then the Basson.
Oh, that's okay, so this brings us to the fourth fault. Now you can see how these are interrelated, because the fourth fault is the lack of applying the remediation. So it's we've already gone over these various types of remediation according to which of the first three faults is arising and whether it's in a coarse or a subtle form. So the fourth fault is the failure to apply those remediations. So when the mind gets scattered or overly lax, you use the appropriate antidote to that. The mindfulness and the circumspection. Then, if you fail to do that, that becomes a fault in itself, namely the fourth of the five faults. You must apply these remediations immediately as soon as you become aware of some type of the dullness or the scattering, and apply it just as much as is needed to bring back that clear, single-pointed focus. Then this type of remediation then is, in other words, the remediation of the lack of application of the other remediations. Then this is remediated by the application of the mindfulness and the circumspection. Then you have these two things. You have the lack of remediation, and then we'll see that the fifth of the five faults, which we'll get to in the next class, will be too much remediation, going too far with it, and the application of these antidotes itself becomes the main focus of the mind, to the exclusion of the proper meditative focus. So these all are interrelated. These two, the application of the antidotes and the non-application, or the over remediation, these have to be balanced. And so we should understand that the way that they're applied is that the subtle dullness is where the mind's activity is insufficient. That is to say, there's a sort of a depression of mental activity. Rather than having too much activity, you don't have enough. The mind is sort of sinking into that lax or drowsy state. With that, you lose the sharp mental focus. So with the subtle one, you still have the image, but it's not in proper focus. So that's been covered before. It's not proper meditation and will not bring about the results of the one-pointed focus of the mind. So with the subtle form of this dullness, there's no need for any big change, like stopping your visualization, because you still have the object there. You just have to clarify it a bit, tighten it up, bring the mind sort of speed it up a little, get it out of its sort of sinking into being too lax. But then, if you apply that antidote, it's like you're stepping on the gas a little in your car. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to make the mind's hold too much on that, because then you'll go into the other fault, or the other aspect of the fault. You'll have the mind scattering to other objects, and so you lose the focus that way. So you have to have just the right amount of sort of mental tension with respect to the object. It's got to hold it just right, not too much, not too little. And so on this topic, the Lord Buddha himself said that meditation is like the good meditator is like a good musician playing, he said, the vina, the stringed instrument. That the good musician always makes sure that the string is not too tight nor too loose. It's always, it always has to be just right, between too tight and too loose, and then it'll be just right. Then the sound will be very beautiful. Likewise, we can understand from that statement of the Buddha, we can understand that in meditation, you have to balance the tightness of the mind from the laxity of the mind. Too lax, then you sink into the dull state. Too tight, then the mind just goes somewhere else. It takes up some attractive object, some object of desire, something like that. So you have to get it just right between those. And so this is the function of circumspection. But you have to have just enough circumspection and not too much. So here the Acharya Chandragoman said that don't apply too much tightening when the mind starts to get a little dull. Just enough. And if you don't apply enough, then the mind falls into laxity. So he says it's not easy to get that proper balance. And so this is the real challenge in meditation, to get that right, get that proper balance, not too much, not too little. And so these faults are, like it said, like enemies in your own family. These are the hardest to deal with, because you're closely related to them. They're already within the family. External enemies you can identify and deal with more easily. But with when they're in your household, then you have to use a lot of finesse there. So that's what you have to do here. These are all functions of the mind that are necessary, but when they get out of balance, then you lose the correct meditative concentration. And so in the Madhyamaka Pradaya, it says that when you meditate and focus on the object, this laxity and dullness can arise. The mind can sink into the laxity and dullness. At that point, the author advises that you introduce something that's expansive to the mind when it gets dull. So here, it's like there are knots in the mind to be unraveled, so that everything functions smoothly and efficiently in your meditative practice. So when it gets a little dull and you really can't untie that knot, then sometimes you have to sort of move away from your visualization and apply a more expansive antidote. And so what's being recommended here is, sometimes in the course of the meditation, the mind just gets sort of sunk into this dull state. And no matter how much you try to be vigilant and sort of tighten it up a bit, it keeps falling into that depressed state. So then you do something that is expansive, it says. So here, this is when you go back to the foundational teachings, which are the reason for you meditating in the first place. And this would be things like contemplating the precious human rebirth that you have, and how hard it is to obtain, how easy it is to lose. We go back to that and to stimulate and motivate your practice and get out of the sort of depressed state of dullness. Or you can meditate on the great value of, or the perfection of the three jewels, or the value of the spiritual teacher, or the great benefits of the bodhicitta. And having studied these well before you begin the meditative process, then you can relate to those, and by thinking of them, contemplating them for a bit, the mind expands. It becomes, you regain your motivation and your mental power to take up the object of meditation again. So you can bring back the sort of the energy to your meditation in these various ways. So it's important that you're very familiar with these foundational teachings. If you're not, then it's hard to use them at this point to bring back the energy and motivation. So be sure you're very familiar with all of those things. And so it said that if you are familiar with them, if you've really contemplated them well, then by turning the mind to them, even briefly in the meditation process, when the mind starts to get a bit dull or distracted in the scattering process, thinking about these foundational teachings is like splashing cold water on your face. It will really revive you. And if this dullness still does not go away, then there are other techniques such as visualizing the clear light in your in the center of your being, in your heart, and or using the tantric syllable, the pot which sort of sends the mind from deep in the heart up through the central channel and out of the top of your head, and so that it can go up into the heavens for a bit. This is a technique for making the mind more expansive. Get it out of the body for a bit, do a little space travel or sky travel or something, and then it gets energized and can come back down and refocus on the proper object. Then if you have to deal with it further, then at this point, maybe you need a little rest or a nap or something. Maybe you need to get up and go for a walk or something like that. Walk up to some high place where you have a vast, a big vista, and things like that. But do whatever you want to re-energize. That's all.
That this is also the Jagi, which
Lots of-
Chokol Kasuma.
That's all.
Conta.
It's.
Yeah.